Recording in progress.
Yes. All right, can everybody hear me? All right. Let's see, we got a few more minutes here. All right, is that better? Yeah, that's better. All right, that was me that was echoing. All right, how's everybody been? I know it's been 2 weeks. It's kind of trying to get back on the track and doing everything. So let me just introduce myself. Desiray, I'm Desiray Emerton. I am the Mahaya for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am still learning, so if you catch me backtracking and reversing and trying to remember how to pronounce things, I'm still learning. So when I teach how it helped me to remember things and how it helped me to learn things, because I'm overwriting 40 plus years of English and have a little French in there, but it's trying to speak Mvskoke and think Mvskoke and just be in the Mvskoke mindset when we do things. So we're trying to do that, switch our brains from thinking English to Mvskoke. And so the way I teach is a little different. I like to go slow because when we go slow, to me, that helps it absorb a little bit easier and faster. And yeah, like I said, I'm rewriting over 40 years of English. So, that absorption, it's almost like watering a garden. You don't just sit there and spray it and spray it. You just kind of have to let it soak in a little bit at a time. Otherwise, it doesn't get into the roots and get into the garden. All right. Just wanted to put that out there, and I see some familiar faces. Welcome back. I can see you guys today. I don't know if when I share things, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see, but it's nice to see you guys back again.
Oh, she's already on, dang it.
And I see Mr. Robert Davis up there.
I got my
and
I'm mute.
Brandy, welcome. Cassandra, I see you. And Kian, I see you as well. All right. So before we get started, does anybody have any questions or anything to share? I know kids are going back to school. I just took my daughter back to college, so yay. One of the teachers, well, one of the other students, her mom was dropping her off and she goes, "Are you gonna start crying or are you gonna be sad?" And I was like, "Nope." This is she's working on her bachelor's degree, so we've already gone through this a few times. So I started laughing and I just kind of showed her like a little foot kick. But it's always nice to see our native people getting ahead and thriving and doing so many things. One of the things that when I teach or try to teach, some of the culture, some of the things that I've learned, to make it a little bit more than just just teaching the language, because our language is our culture, and our words are powerful more than a lot of people understand. I know, Amy, we've talked about that before. You can feel it in here. And from Mado. So Amy said, "Love my outfit." Mado. I always try to wear ribbon skirts when I come to work, because I was in the military for 13 years, so it was either green or blue. So now I get color. So that's why you see me wearing a lot of ribbon skirts. And I'm in an area where people appreciate, when you dress, as our culture and our native ways. So that's exciting, because I don't know how many of you have ever gone or been in a place where it's kind of confining and you just have to dress a certain way. So that's why you see me wearing a lot of color, and I try to wear earrings, native earrings. So when I go out to these native markets, I always buy from our native vendors to give them that little extra of, because when you go online, sometimes you never know who you buy for. But anyway, I try to encourage and to help our native people in any way that I can. And that's also in the language. All right, so let's go. Okay, so I gotta, let's see, I'm trying to, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't, so bear with me. Okay, yeah, somebody wants to, oh, Christy wants to make a ribbon skirt. Yeah, let's don't go. I've learned how to make a ribbon skirt, but it just takes time. And right now I don't have a lot of time, so I've been outsourcing it to our native people. People keep telling me who makes ribbon skirts, and I like the skirts with the pockets. So, you know, you can put your keys in, you can put your phone in. So those are my favorite ones, is the ones with the pockets. All right, so today we are just gonna go over a lot of things that we've already gone over for those of you guys who are new. I know we've got people on different aspects of learning the language. I know Amy's a good speaker, Robert's a good speaker, and Cassandra and Christy. You're doing good, you're doing good. So, you know, we're getting there, but we're all at different parts of learning the language. There's gonna be things that I know and you don't know, and there's gonna be things you know that I don't know. So we're just gonna work with this. I'm gonna review today because like, when you get back to starting to learn again, you forget. So I'm just gonna go through module 1, 2, 3, and today we are, for module 4, we're going to do things. I'm going to do something. Last module, we were not going to do something. So we were not going to cook, we were not going to eat, we were not going to sleep, but this module we are going to. And for those of you guys who have been with me, there's Nikki. For those of you guys who've been with me for a while, you understand the process where I try to do it in steps to show you guys, to make it easier for you. And it's a lot of repetition, a lot of repetition. So I know sometimes some of these things seem like, oh my gosh, here we go again. But it helps us to remember and retain. And remember, when you got up this morning, you turned on the TV, what did you hear? You heard English. We've got to get our mind flipped from English to Mvskoke. And sometimes that takes a couple of steps, and that takes different things for different people. And like I said, I'm showing you how I learn and how it makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to you that way, like I said, I show different ways. Write your notes, you know, do it the way that you remember, because not all of us remember the same way. All right, let me see if I can go to my drive here, and I will share it once I get there. Okay, module 4. And sometimes, and those of you who have been with me for a while, you guys know that sometimes the screen does not want to work correctly because she gets a little cranky. Right, let's see, share screen. There we go. And if you can't see something, you unmute. Oh, I can see you guys today. Sometimes you guys are not there on my screen. But if you can't hear or see something, let me know, and I will unmute. Like I said, this is just going over things that we've learned so we can get everybody caught up. And if you have any questions, all of this is on the Google Drive, and I will share that in a minute. Okay, so basic introduction is, for hello is hisjay, hivisjay, hinsjay. I've seen it all 3 ways. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I know there's people out there who will say this is wrong, that's right, you know. I don't say that. If you learned it one way, keep talking that way. As long as I can understand you, as long as we can understand each other, we're good. I am enrolled Seminole. I am not enrolled Creek, but I am Creek. So I know some of the Seminole words are different, like chishy, we say chishy. And I learned Creek way is chissy. You know, I know what somebody's talking about. It's just a little different. Owa, wewa, learn those as well. So there's other words out there. I don't know if it's because I'm Seminole or what, but there's differences out there. As long as we can understand each other, we're good. All right, so I introduced myself, Desiray, Chahajivkatos, and that's one of the things we have to remember is it's got the end with a T right there, and then os, Chahajivkatos. All right, sometimes people say Chahajivkatos, and that is acceptable as well. So my name is, and then you put Desiray, my name is. All right, where I am from, more Adeidos. Like I said, we've got to get back into the way of thinking Mvskoke. Some people say with a T at the end right there, Adeidos. Some people say adeitos. Desiray, I'm from Moore. And then I live in Oklahoma City, Okmulgee. I travel back and forth. So I am here and there. So Oklahoma City, Legatos, or Okmulgee Legatos. Depends on what day you catch me. But that's our introduction there. And like I said, I'm going over the stuff that we did in module 1 for those of you who are still learning the sounds. And you will hear Mahia Barnett talking about our sounds. And these are just some notes that I have. I did put it in our Google Drive for module 4, but they are just a repeat of module 1 and 2 and 3. So you see that we have 20 letters in the Mvskoke alphabet. It says, unlike English, Mvskoke does not have B, D, G, J, Q, X, and Z. But if you see some of the old literature, you see people have a B or a D or a G or some of these other letters because like our P has the B sound. So the letter P has the B sound. So a lot of times the people who wrote a lot of our literature were missionaries or people who were not Mvskoke. So they just kind of, how it sounded to them, that's how they wrote it. So you will see differences. And many Mvskoke words contain the letter V. There are 2 E sounds in the Mvskoke alphabet. There's a short E and long E. I think that's just like English. You got the short E and long E. But for the short E is I, right here, like it. Long E is E, like an eat. The Mvskoke letters most commonly confused when pronouncing them are E, I, R, U, and V. And the way you pronounce those in Mvskoke is the E is I or E. This sound is A. This sound is Thi or Thlee. And this sound is, U. And this sound is So those are some of the things, the differences in Mvskoke that you will come across. And you will hear and you will remember some of these words and you will look at it, but your mind switches back to English, and everybody does it, even the speakers. Because like I said, when you turn on TV this morning, what did you hear? You heard English. So even the speakers, sometimes they're like, wait, and then they have to backtrack as well. So we're just gonna briefly go over these and you can hear the difference. And you can say it after I say it. You can mute and just say it. We're on different time zones. I know some people are East Coast, some people are West Coast, some people are Central and Mountain Time. So it's easier if you mute. If you want everybody to hear you, that's fine. I'm good with that. All right. So chi, I, E, B, Ki, A, Ki. The key has a key sound depending on who you hear speak. Sometimes they say gi, and sometimes you hear the key sound. That's why it has both of them there. Li, me, ni, o, b. So it's got the PB sound. Sometimes you'll hear people speak with more of a P sound. And I know in some of the dictionaries I've seen them write and it says P, like the English P. But then the speakers that I'm speaking, I interact with every day, they have it the B sound. So you'll hear P or B. You can still understand each other. It's not a big deal. The Lee or the. Here I hear in the Mvskoke complex, I hear more the. But at the College of Mvskoke Nation, I heard Flee. So both are fine. You will hear some differences as well. C, D, and like I said, T or D sound. That's why I put both of them up there. O, we, ye. So these are all the different sounds that we have for the Mvskoke alphabet. I do have let's see, a breakdown of English, and this helped me for those of you guys who are learning from English to Mvskoke. This helped me. If you lost a sound, say for Oklahoma, you got the that we're looking for in the Mvskoke words. you have it in the English words. If you know, because there's sometimes when we learned like IO for A, but I didn't know at the time what IO was. It's a hawk, and I didn't know how to pronounce it. So if you lose some of these sounds, I've got this here for you to find the sound or something close to the sound of the Mvskoke words or the Mvskoke alphabet. So Oklahoma, Oklahoma. Cheese. I, like hit, E, like in feet. Fee, like in feast. He, like in heat. A, like in hay. Key, like in key. More of the key sound, like in key. Lee, like in leader. Me, like in me. Knee, like in the knee. Oh, school, oh. So that's where we get messed up, because I hear people say like totally, wind, totally. So you can see the difference in pronunciation. And one of the things that I've talked to some of our speakers about is we're trying to teach with the correct sounds. So you can say totally and people know what you're talking about, but to have that special Mvskoke sound, sound like the speakers that we're trying to attain, you totally, like school, So you've got that sound. And I'm good at, sometimes I'll look at something and I'll put English and Mvskoke and they're like, wait, that's English. Okay, B, like in the B. Like I said, sometimes it's got the more of a P sound, but I put up there B because it can be P or B sound. Like flee, athlete, or thee. C, D, like in deer. And then ooh, like shoe, ooh, you got that sound. So I know sometimes like one of the pet peeves of one of the Mahaya is like to use some of these like ooh, instead of ooh, they would use the U sound like bun, like the sound when you're supposed to be using the ooh, and I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes they have to like redirect me a little bit, but it's ooh, like in shoe. And one of the other Mahayas for Fujo is duck. Don't hold it. Ooh, don't go Fujo. Because that gets some of these Mahayas a little, but it's Fujo. And it's got the F-U-C-O, Fujo. But it's got that sound. So you got to remember that sound. And like I said, sometimes you have to backtrack even sometimes I have to go back to my alphabet and say these things. Like in under, like under this bridge. We, like in all of us, we. Ye, like in yield. All right. We've got a lot of new people. So does anybody have any questions right now? Does everything look good? Does everything look like you can understand it? All right, Mado. Like I said, I'm doing these breakdowns to show you how I learned. And it's not, when you're coming from English straight into Mvskoke, it's not really that easy. Here are some Mvskoke greetings and phrases you guys will probably have heard or may hear. Like Ische. I've got it broken down in the syllables. So you can say Ische, hello. Estongo, how are you? And then I am well. Estongis os. So you've got all of these broken down for you right now. This helps for those of us who are learning, and this helps for those of us who are speaking, but just have to refresh. I'm going to leave that there. You guys are welcome to look at it. We've got a lot to cover. This is out there on the Google Drive, so you will be able to look at it and reference that. So we go from our syllables or sounds to two-letter syllables and sounds, and you'll see Mahaya Barnett pull this up sometimes. And to me, when I was going through College of Mvskoke Nation, when I was going through this, all they had was the top line. To make it a little easier for those of us who are learning, I've got right here underneath, right here, the bottom line, showing what we're trying to achieve, what these two sounds sound like in the Mvskoke language. Chi, ah. So that's the C-A sound, but it's chi, ah, chi, I, chi, E, chi, A, chi, O, chi, U, chi, So when you put that together, the combination sometimes changes the sound a little bit. So this is what our letters, the sounds of these letters sound like in Mvskoke. So when you put it together, it's cha, j, ji, j, jo, ju, cha. You see how it slightly changes a little bit. And these are the sounds of our Mvskoke words. You can put a couple of these, as many of these together and make a word. Like, let's see if I don't have a copy of it. But you will hear these sounds in Mvskoke language. Me, 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 a, me, o, me, u, me, So put it together. Ma, me, mo, mu, ma. You will hear Mahaya Barnett share this with you, and this is the whole thing. This is what she's talking about. You're just putting these two sounds, Mvskoke sounds, together to make words. And like I said, these are just examples. This is also on the Google Drive. I will not go through all of this. I just wanted to show you briefly. Like I said, this is what a lot of times she will show you, or some of the other speakers will show you. I like to put both of the E sounds here. So the first sound is the short sound, I, and the second sound is E. I put them both together because my mouth and my brain needs to practice. So I know there's other people out there who need to practice. That's why I put the long E and the short E. Some people just put one E sound. So ja, j, ji, j, jo, ju, ja. La, le, li, lay, lo, lu, la. All right, so you get that sound and you get that rhythm of the Mvskoke language and the Mvskoke words. So you can see that putting these two sounds together sometimes creates something just a little different, but you can understand and you can hear the Mvskoke sounds. And one of the things that I learned while I was going to school is Mvskoke language is not discriminatory. There's no secret sounds, there's no secret letters like a secret P or a secret H. It's always there and you can hear it. And the H is one of the things, it's not hidden or anything, but sometimes the sound sounds different. It's more like it's not a he sound, it's a. Some of these letters and some of these words are more like a breath. So it's not a or or a. Sometimes it's like a or the H sound. So you'll come across that. And this question is always asked of me. How do you know if it's a short E or a long E? There's no definite way to know if it's a short E or a long E unless you know the word. If you have never learned the word, you don't know. And I asked the Mahayas in there, I'm like, how do I know? Because that's my question too. How do I know if it's a short E or a long E? And you just have to know the word. Let's see if I can find that. Oh, here it is. You just have to know the word. And I know in the dictionary, if you look at some of these words that you have a question, is it the short E or a long E? In the pronunciation in the dictionaries, it'll show you a short E or a long E symbol, how to pronounce it. But let me just remind you that there are different regions and different speakers, and they all speak slightly different. So somebody might say Eva for a dog, where I learned Iva. And it's the same thing. They had the long E and I have the short E. That's how I learned it. So if I'm talking to somebody and I say Iva, they know it's a dog. And sometimes if they say Eva, I know they're talking about a dog. Like I said, I'm not going to tell anybody they're wrong. If we're speaking Mvskoke, I'm happy. If your dialect's different than mine, your dialect's different than mine. But I never tell anybody you're wrong because it's different dialect, different regions. And okay, so when I was learning the Mvskoke language or the Mvskoke sounds, this is what I learned is a futchki means happy. Well, if I don't know the sound of a futchki, how do I know it's the ah sound? So I had it broken down with the syllables, sounds, and you see it right here. Ah, B, G, ki, e, futchki. So that's the sounds of the Mvskoke sounds making the word a futchki. You see the English phonetics, and that helps me. I know a lot of first speakers, they're confused with the way I teach because they learned just by absorbing for years and years. But I had to sit there and I had to write my little notes. Futchki. So that would help me to keep the ah sound. And whenever we go through anything, print out the papers or make notes. You make the notes however you can sound it out, so you'll capture that sound of Mvskoke. And I like to know what I'm talking about, so I put the word happy in there, so you know what you're talking about. You're not just blindly saying these words like, what the heck am I saying? There's nothing to me more frustrating than learning something and then like, what did I just say? I hope I didn't, say something bad. But I always like to show you guys what you're saying. Okay. Like ido, I, D, O. English phonetics, the way that I could understand it was it, o, ido, ido. It means tree. All right, so I went from showing you the alphabet in English so you can hear and you can capture those sounds. And also, like I was talking to Amy before, I put the visuals in there because I'm a real visual person and I know a lot of our native people are visual. So I put that in there, and also you see me using a lot of color for the same reason. It breaks it down and keeps you kind of on track. So here is the Mvskoke word, the Mvskoke alphabet. I will briefly go through there, and I haven't spoken these words in a while. So if I find myself, hey, as long as we're going forward, we're going forward. All right, futchki means happy. You hear the ah sound. Chissy, mouse. Like I said, I learned chishi, but this one's chissy, mouse. Ido, tree. Igana, earth. Piki, heart. Ilokwa, gum. Daplegi, bread. Ibala, strawberry. Lihaya, cauldron. Mvskoke, chubo, means church. And that one took me a little while to get to, because it looks long. You're starting out, it looks long. You can just break it down right here. Mvskoke, Mvskoke, chugo. If you need to break it down, because that's how I learned. That's how a lot of us have learned, and it makes it easier. Even sometimes the first speakers, we have to break things down because it's such a long word. Mini, road. Austin, or Benoit, turkey. Bakko, horse. Simaga, fan. Dava, feather. Tuchinen, 3. Aji, horn. Waga, cow. Yikchi, strong. So you guys have all of these things, all of these tools that can help you remember and understand what we're teaching and how we break things down. So you hear sometimes our speakers saying, sounding it out by sounds. B, E, G, E, Figi. And that's what they're doing, is they're making the sounds of our Mvskoke letters. Just like I would say A, B, there's because there's no B. G, A, C. All right, does anybody have any questions? All right, let's go to this one, the 3-letter syllables. So we've already done the 2-letter syllables. This one gives us a step further to make longer words, longer sentences. So right here, if I wanted to say it in the Mvskoke sounds, it'd be C, E. The next one would be C, I, Ki. The next one be C, E, Ki. This one be C, A, Ki. si, oh, ki, si, ki, si, ki. And like I said, I use a short E here and the long E to help our mouth and help our mind jump into the Mvskoke language and give us some practice. So if we asked anybody to say these, it would be sock, sick, seek, say, so, soup, suck. And that's putting our words together, our sounds together. Let me do one more. Ma, me, me, may, mo, mu, ma. All right, so you see, and it's easy. If you sit there and you're looking at this in Mvskoke and you see that word, you automatically go, man, it's mon, min, mean. So it takes a little practice. You just have to remember our syllables sound different. The I especially, A, it's got the A sound. Just practice that. Like I said, this is refresher review. If you have any questions, you can always refer back to module 1, because this is what I'm reviewing right now is module 1, and it should be out there. In module 1, we also learned to make sentences, simple sentences, and I will briefly go over this. We were doing sentences in the present tense. These are the present tense steps I will show you. I will quickly go over this. You can refresh and you can go over it in depth later. Present tense steps, drop the ETV, you L grade the verb stem. That means lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a, change it to a, unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. If it is, leave it a V. The rest of the final vowels, place some belong mark over it. And your person marker right here is it's, and nothing. That right there is my placeholder showing that that's nothing is there, but you know, that is still a step. Add the declarative ending C or ES, it is. Here it goes more in depth. Third person does not have a person marker. That's why I had my placeholder. So first person is the I, it's, and third person has nothing. That was my placeholder. I know some of you are getting a little confused. I know this can be confusing, but let me just go over briefly, like I said, some of the ways to show the breakdown that makes it a lot easier. And one of my, like I tell everybody, one of my favorite words is humpida, because we're talking about food. I'm not thin and I'm happy. So, but you know, I used to play sports. I used to play a lot of sports so I could eat. I can go to Golden Corral and chow down, but I have had played probably an hour of soccer. So, you know, you play an hour of soccer, you're running back, well, 90 minutes. 90 minutes of soccer, you're running back and forth. So we were famished by the time it was time to eat. We go to all you can eat all we could. But, you know, sometimes when you get older and you're not as active, it starts to show a little bit. But like I said, humpida, that's more of a, to me, I always think of family when you're eating. You get together, a family gathering, a cookout, a barbecue, whatever you want to call it. So that's an endearing term to me, is humpida, to eat. So you will see that in a lot of my examples, humpida. And this is how we conjugate it for the first person, what we're doing now. Like I said, this is module 1, we're referencing. Humpida, you drop your ETV, you get the verb stem, home. You lengthen the final vowel, you put a long mark over it, you add your person marker, which is right there is the I. You add your declarative ending, S, and the period, which means MR is. You see also it means the period. So we went from right here, humpida, to eat, humbis, humbis. You got your verb stem, you see what the person marker is, and you see the declarative ending S or ES, which means MR is. Humbes is now I am eating, humbes. So now you went from to eat to I am eating. And that's all the steps that we did. I know there's an easier way, and I will show you the easier way, but right now we're doing the long math. And once we learn the long math, we can shorten it up. So this module, I plan to shorten things up. As long as you know the long math, the cool thing is you know what these things mean. you know that this is a verb stem from to eat right here. So you know it's talking about eating. You know this blue part is talking about person, I, and you know that this part right here is S, means am, are, is. I am eating. You know what the whole thing is. All right. That is the cool thing about how I was taught, and like I said, I was taught more of I was taught in college. So I was taught more academically, and now I'm learning from the Mahayas how to think a little differently than just academics. Iskita, to drink. So this is the same technique. The only difference in when we were conjugating, what we're doing currently is this part right here. The only thing that changed was the person marker. I is from one person, first person. It's, which is right here, is second person, and nothing is the third person. And I will show you that in a minute. So second person, you drop your ETV, you lengthen the final vowel, and this is where the only thing that changes in the whole module 1 is the person marker, because we're talking about second person, it's. You add your ES, so all the steps are the same except for this person marker. Verb stem right here, it's. We are talking second person. That's why it's changed in this. It's east, it's gets. You know, and these are hard to say because we're not used to it. And our mouth and our tongues will be like, ah, I can hear it, but they won't say it. And that's just how it is when you're trying to learn a different language. Izitskis. You can see it's. All right. And like I said, I'm going to show you the same thing in different examples. Aegis. So it's the same thing. We had already conjugated this out, but this is third person. So you got C, it's hijida, to see. So you conjugated it, and this is the final, well, right here is the final version of the Mvskoke, right here. So you conjugated, this is the HEC, is the verb stem. This parentheses is open and close parentheses, and that means nothing is there. And inside of this little space is she, he, it, or they. You can put any of one of those in the third person into your sentence. And here you got are. I know for some of you guys it might be a little confusing, but just refer back to module 1 and you can review what we've already gone over. So he just. So hijida, to see, you conjugated in the third person, he just. So the literal translation is seeing, they are. English translation is they are seeing. I like the fact that you know what each part of this is. Each part of this. And it's funny. You look at it and you don't think it's a sentence, but it is. Seeing, they are seeing. All right. Okay. So that was the first, second, and third person. We went through 3 syllables. So you've got to see the different changes in module 1 that we had done. And here is a review of module 2. I'm trying to hurry up so we can get to what we're going to cover this week, this module. All right, so for module 2, these were the rules for module 2. And this is for third person. It's also the same for second and first person. The only thing that changes in these rules, like I said, is the person marker. Because who are you talking about? Are you talking about yourself? Are you talking about you? Are you talking about, somebody else? She, he, it, or they. So this is the third person present tense that we were talking about. Hombida, to eat. Drop the ETV, you get your verb stem, add your person marker, I, it's, or you. I, which was signified by it's means you, and no person marker. And this is when we add the negation. Yeah, negation. We did negation last module. We are not going to do something. So the negation was go or equal. That shows that whatever we're talking about is negated. add your subject marker D, add your auxiliary verb os. Like I said, hombeda. You had your verb stem, you add your person marker. Right there, it's either it's or nothing. Right now, we are talking about third person. The open and close parentheses is my placeholder, remember, because we want to make sure we get all of the steps. So I always added a marker, a placeholder, so we wouldn't skip any steps. So, and then you add your ego or go or ego. You add your auxiliary verb, the subject marker, is showing that this is the subject. And os is the auxiliary verb, means am, are, is. So we went from right here, hombeda, to eat, and hombekot os. Hombekot os. Hombekot os. It's eating, she, he, they, it, not are. They are not eating. You could also put she is not eating, he is not eating, they are not eating. All right, I know some of you guys are like, oh my gosh. But like I said, this is in module 2 that we learned how we're not going to do something. And the cool thing, let's see if I can find it. The cool thing that I was able to do, since I'm sharing, okay, somebody's got a question. Thanks for saying it. I was so lost. All right. And if you have any question, just type it in a chat or unmute and ask the question. I can always backtrack and go back if I need to, or I can always just go over it again and show you. So what I did in module 2, and this is just an example of what I did, is I made a template of how to conjugate. And all you do is plug and play. You grab an infinitive verb and you put it right here. And I'm going to just say hombeda. Hombeda means to eat. So you just get your infinitive verbs. In each module, we have learned infinitive verbs. We have learned vocabulary. So, you know, this is all building onto the previous module that we had. So hombeda, you would type it in there. You drop the ETV. The verb stem would be HOMP, homp. No L grading. And again, that goes with the rules. Right here, we're talking about second person it's. So home, it's. This is where we add the negation. Eco or go. Home, it's eco. We're adding eco here because the K drops down. Eco. If the K right there was a vowel, we would not add a vowel. So whatever drops down here, if there's a vowel, we don't add a vowel. So that would be go. But if there's no vowel, we add a vowel. And I've got that on some of the notes. You add your subject marker, you drop it down. You have your conjugated verb all the way to that point with a T right here, and then you add os. So if I'm doing hombeda, homp, it's equal os. Hombits equal os. That shows your verb stem. To eat would be homp. It's would be second person. We're talking about it's. We're talking about you. The negation is go or equal. So you know what that part of the sentence is. The T is the subject verb. Am, are, is represented by os. So homp, it's equal os. You are not eating. And I know this gets a little scary, but there are templates in modules 2 and modules 3 to help you guys navigate easier. Like I said, these are long, I would say long math. So this is showing you the long way that I learned in college. And the cool thing is, you know what each little part of it means. You know, it's talking about you, it's talking about I, or it's talking about he, she, or it. So you know what each part of this, so you don't have to depend on somebody. Hey, what does this mean? You know what it is. And if it's got go or eco, it's negation. It's not happening. We're not eating. We're not drinking. We're not sleeping. So that is what we covered for module 3. And let's see. Okay. Oh, just FYI, I know I had put some links in for module 3 and module 2 and maybe module 1, but the old Facebook that we had where it had all those videos is not there anymore. I guess it got taken down. So all of these cool resources that you guys had, they're not there anymore. But you know, I'm trying to find them and I'll try to share them as much as I can. So you guys will have all of this, and they had some cool stories. They had alphabet, the sounds. So if you lose a sound, it would be there. But for some reason, I think they took it down permanently. All right. So these are our future 1/10 rules. These are what we are going to do in module 4. So last time we are not going to do something. I am not cooking. I am not sleeping. This time we're doing it. I'm eating, I'm cooking, I'm sleeping, you know. So I will make it pretty. I like to make these pretty. This was just my notes this morning. Future 1/10 shows that someone is going to do something. There is no L grading in future 1/10, which we did L grading in module 1, but we haven't used it since then. Different conjugations have different rules. Future 1 rules is drop the ETV. We've already learned how to do that. We add the marker ahan. We add the person marker I, it's, or nothing. Again, that's third person. Add your declarative ending S or ES, which means am, are, is. I am briefly going to show you how we are, how to conjugate. Nojira, to sleep. You get your, oh, that should be a C. Sometimes, I'm going to tell you now, I am not a typist, so I fat finger a lot. So if we find some mistakes, I'll go back and change it. But it should be NOC because we're dropping off the ETV, which creates the verb stem NOC. Right here, you see, that's the verb stem NOC. Then you add ahan, means going to. Noj ahan. And then right here, I added the I because we're talking about I am going to do something. So we added the I, go to the next step, and you add your S, your C. No Johannes, no Johannes. I am going to, you see right here, Mvskoke translation. This is the final conjugated infinitive verb, no Johannes. And literal translation is sleep, going to, I am. English translation is I am going to sleep. So now you get to see how these steps come into play right here. Mvskoke translation, no Johannes. Literal translation, sleep, going to, I am going to sleep. And if you look at the literal translation, and we brought this up before in some of our classes, is that sounds like Yoda speech. Sleep, going to, I am. And then one of the things that we were laughing about is I always say Yoda was Mvskoke. People just don't know it. That's why he speaks like that. But it's a cool and funny way to think of the literal translation of our Mvskoke words. Sleep, going to, I am. Yoda speech, I am going to sleep. So that is what we are going to do for module 4 is future 1/10. We are going to do something. Since a lot of you guys have already are repeats, and I've seen you guys, studying and watching Mahaya Barnett and all of the other classes, we can start cutting the long math down and we can start just plug and play and make it easier. But the cool thing about learning the long math or the long way of conjugating is if you look at this right here, right here, that is kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie, that is scary. If you didn't know how to conjugate, you wouldn't know where to begin. The cool thing about the long math is you know how to break this down. You know that right here is the verb stem. Ahan is going to. It's is you. Ikot is negation. Os. So you look right here, the color code. Eating, going to, you, not, are. So homp is the conjugated verb for hombeda, eating. Ahan, going to. It's, you. Ikot, not, os. Am, are, is. So you choose what fits in the sentence. Are right here. Hombahan, it's, ikot, os. Eating, going to, you not are, you are not going to eat. So now that we learned the long math, which is the long math, you know what each step and each thing means. You can break things down, you can break sentences down and know what they're talking about. Where if you just knew to just, take this off and add this, you still don't know what you're talking about. So I like the fact that I know what I'm talking about and I can show you and I can sit there and dissect it and show you this part means this part means not, this part means you, this part means going to. Does anybody have any questions? I know that was kind of fast. Does anybody have any questions at all? Like I said, I know I've seen some new faces. And I've seen some of the faces that we've been together for a while. And I've seen a couple from my in-person class. So we're just moving right along. And with each module, we add more infinitive verbs, what we can conjugate, and we also add the vocabulary. Because we can't talk to each other, we can't speak to each other if we don't know what we're talking about. And last module, we were talking about eating. We were going to eat, let's see, and this is my favorite, Okchanwa asanwayas, pass the salt, Homoji asanwayas, pass the pepper. So these are these cool things that get stuck in your head, and it will keep your mind and yourself into the Mvskoke language and the Mvskoke mindset. I was listening to an audiobook, and it's not Mvskoke, but it's still a native audiobook. And the lady was talking about how reverence and how respect in our languages, in our native tongue, is a lot of the way that we hear in our language story is the creator gave us the language. So if I'm speaking Mvskoke to the sky or the tree or the grass, it hears me in the language that was given to us by the creator. Same thing with all of the other tribes and all the other indigenous people. And just the thought on that is, you hear people say, hey mom, they usually know who's talking to them. Hey Nana, you know who they're talking, you're still talking about the same person, you're just using different words. I liken that to different language and different words of our indigenous people. So if you're talking to a plant and you're saying, to the tree, thank you for the shade. Mado, Mado, tree, thank you. And something so simple like tree, thank you, is an appreciation for our surroundings. And that's how our people were. For a lot of our indigenous people, we were the tree people. You always talk about the tree people, the bird people, the fish people. And it's really cool to dig into that. And to know that you can speak to all of the environment in Mvskoke. Go out there, tree, suta, sky, nini, road. So you can go out and you can just walk out with a cool appreciation of Mvskoke. And you can sit there and you can name things. And if you do that, it's really neat because you'll feel almost like they can understand and appreciate what you're saying to them in the language that was given to you by the creator. And like I said, somebody say mama, somebody say mom, you've got those kids who say nana or other things, but they're talking about the same person. So I just liken that to all these languages, and these animals and these plants know who's talking to them because of the dialect that we're speaking to them. Just a cool thought. Like I said, this was an audiobook from a native author, and it covers a lot of the Mvskoke ways in thinking and appreciation. One of the things is we need to appreciate Mother Earth because she gives food, she gives shelter, she gives and gives and gives, and we need to make sure that we take care of her. And even something as easy as saying Mado, and you're talking to the sun or the moon or the Hotali, the wind, Mado, because we're having 3-digit temperatures here, 102, 103. So, and it's funny, and this is from my own personal experience. But when I was playing soccer, he would make us do a 1.5 mile lap before we played, 1.5 lap after we played to keep us in shape. And Oklahoma gets really hot. It'd be 80s, 90s, sometimes 100. We would have towels with ice water and just put it on our head. We'd still be jogging along in 101, 102 degrees, younger, of course, younger. And I'd be running and I'd be like, oh, Mado, for the sun, it's so beautiful. And then I'd be jogging around, Mado for the wind. At that time, I did not know the words, the Mvskoke words. I just knew Mado. So if you can only say one word, think the rest, and it can hear you through your intentions. But I was running around. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I would just love it if you would just give me a big old gust of wind. I'm just so hot." And not even 2 seconds later, big old gust of wind. And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And I would say, "Mado." Like, "Oh, that felt so good." And then later on, I'd be running like, "Oh, that was so good. Can you give me another gust of wind?" And cooling down, you're doing your exercises, you're stretching, big old gust of wind. It's funny, try it out. Even if all you can say is Mado, thank you for the wind, thank you for the rain, and whatever. Just have that appreciation in the Mvskoke language, and you will feel it here. And it's something that you can't put into words, but you can feel it. So anyway, like I said, whatever your language journey, wherever you are in your language journey, just use what you know, because that is still carrying forth our words and our language. Since we have a little time, let me go ahead and show you something I've been working on. And I know I showed you guys before. And let's see. This is one of the things, and this will help you, those of you who are learning the sounds. So these are going to be on Instagram and Facebook and all of that, but I have them here in my Google Drive. So you can go back and you can refresh. These are some of the clans. These are some of the things that I've seen in our office, and I'm sharing this with you. Instruction 1, 2, 3 are instruction for the clans. You've got Hadam Chihichaplis. Let me see. I can't see right now. It's kind of covered. But you've got these as well. Hadam Chihichaplis. So you can see what you're supposed to say. I will see you again. And this one, I've spoken to one person. So you've got a little bit of teaching, and you can do it. I always do this. You can do it a little bit at a time. One little word at a time. This is the cool one. These are the cool ones. I have fun sometimes. It just depends, what I'm doing, but I have some fun sometimes. This one.
Jogi, Tiger Clan.
So we got to add a little bit of video with that. So these are the clans, and you can see that it's broken down. We're trying to cover everybody at the same time. So, those of you who need it broken down, we broke it down so you guys will have a little bit easier time to understand and break it down and pronounce things. These are the cool ones. This is
Oski, rain.
So I layered that on, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Like I said, I don't know. I get like a kid when I'm playing with some of these words. But so these are, if they're not out on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, I'm always putting them here, so you guys can know, be in the know. You guys can know things.
Orderly, wind.
So this is really cool. And I think sound effects really helps us to remember some of the things that we're trying to learn.
Orderly, tornado.
So like right there, totally, taco, tornado. You can see if you just look at it with the English eye, it looks like totally. But it's totally. So like I said, I have the speakers and I try to use the speakers as much as I can. So you can hear where we're trying to be with our language and our sounds. Sometimes I can't catch them and you'll hear my voice on there every now and then, but I also go through there and I also make sure that I'm getting the correct sounds that I need to share with you guys. But like I said, this is going to be out there on the
Suddenly it goes. The wind is strong.
and like I said, we've got other ones coming up for June. Sorry, but this is June. It took back and forth. Oh, that's not spelled right, or that doesn't sound right, or so I'm a little bit behind, but I'm catching up. So don't worry about it. We'll get caught up. And let me put. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to make sure I put. There it goes. Put the link there, so you guys will have it. Oh, Amy, thank you. I try to have fun while I'm learning. And I know when you're learning and you're having fun and you see all these cool things, it helps you remember. And one of the things that helped me to remember was when I see these words of the day. Yeah, yeah, right, tornado. When I see these words of the day, their voice is in my head. So I can try to mimic how they sound. So I can start getting there naturally. And I hope that comes across with you. And one of the things that we learned is I used to put for words of the day just the Mvskoke words, and you would have to read the English part. But I know Robert Davis, we were talking about that, how to help you guys learn, and this is something I do, is I record some of these. I record some of these sayings on my phone, and when I'm driving, I'm sitting in traffic, I'll just listen to what it's saying and try to repeat. So if we hear hodily, wind, and you just hear hodily, you don't have time to sit there and look at it. So now I'm adding the English part of it, hodily, wind. So you can hear it. You can be practicing while you're driving down the way. All right, so that looks like it's everything. Robert says, glad to be back learning, Mado. All right. Yeah, if you get your family hooked into learning, you guys can practice on each other. And some of the things that I had said last time is, if you're speaking Mvskoke, I have a friend she's Chinese and white. And we went out to eat yesterday. And I said, oh, I need to go to the Chuguji. And I was like, wait, I need to go to the restroom. She started laughing. She goes, girl, I've been around you how many years? I know you need to go to the bathroom. So she knows Chuguji. So I said, well, the cool thing is now I know how to say the whole thing in Mvskoke. So it'll be Chuguji is. I'm going to the bathroom. So anyway, whoever you're with, you're going to be teaching them, even if they're not native. And they're going to be like, hey, I'm learning this stuff. All right, Mado, if nobody has anything, I will see you Wednesday. And then Friday evening, for those of you who go Friday evening in person or on Zoom. All right, Mado, Madam, teach a class, please.
Pache, Mahaya. Great job.
Mado. I always have fun. I always try to make it fun so we can learn without realizing we're learning. All right, Mado.